Hey, Sammy here. I'm not your typical job counselor. I work remote and I travel the world as I kickstart careers. This is raw, real, and on the road.
Hi, I'm Sami, and this is the Career Kickstart. I am so excited today because I have Leah Borski, who is a nutrition and wellness coach and the author of Eat to Beat Stress. And I wanted to bring her onto the Career Kickstart because I know that for most of us, I am part of that group, is where you probably at your desk have a drawer that is full of the worst sort of snacks that you can have, and you just mindlessly eat Doritos and Buglers and candy all day, and then you wonder why you feel like crap when you get home. I am there all the time. So I thought that this would be a perfect opportunity to bring somebody onto the show who knows how to help us help ourselves. And the best thing is that she specializes in nutrition that actually can fit into your life. It's not like here's like a bazillion ingredients and take 2 hours and then you have like a tiny beautiful thing. It's like, nah, Brock, you got 5 minutes. So enough of me fangirling. I'm going to let Leah introduce yourself. So Leah, please tell us all about yourself.
Hi, thank you so much for having me, Sami. I'm so happy to be here. So yeah, I've been a work-at-home mom for the last 12 years, but I did office work for many years before that, and so I know exactly what you're talking about with the vending machine, deal and the drawer and all that stuff. And it really, at the time, I wasn't big on nutrition the way that I am now either. So it did feel really difficult and really overwhelming and kind of undoable when you're spending that much of your day, at a desk, and you can't really cook for yourself there. And when you get home, you want to just kick back and relax. You don't want to spend your night, cooking for the next day or whatever. So I do remember that, and I know that feeling all too well. And even still, being at home, I know there's times when I'm just like, I don't want it to take over my whole life. I want us to eat well. I have 2 kids, so we eat together, and I try to make sure that we're eating the same things, because that right there is a time saver. I'm not having to cook, different things for my kids than I do for my husband and myself. But yeah, I've never wanted it to be like a take over your life kind of thing. And so when I first started learning about nutrition, that was like my main focus, was how can I do this and eat well and teach my kids how to eat well and have it benefit me, my energy and my stress levels and everything else, and have it be really simple and easy to do. So that's where I have focused in and worked on figuring all that out and putting it together. And then I share that with other people, because I know that it's a big challenge for most everybody, especially if you're wanting to eat better and try to have a little bit healthier lifestyle. So
Yes, and I know that can be so difficult during the weekdays. Like, I can be the queen of where on the weekend I'm like, I'm going to get fancy, I'm going to go to a farmer's market, I'm going to chop up some scallions, I'm going to use my healthiest oils, and then during the weekday I'm like, there's too much to do, I'm going to forage like a little trash panda, in my cupboards, and hope that it comes up to be a meal. So what I would love to hear from you is, you wrote the book on how to eat to beat stress. So what would you say would be some great foods that somebody could just incorporate into the lunches that they're bringing to work? Or if they're work from home, just the food that they can have in their cupboards to beat stress.
Same thing. Yeah, so one of the things that I really like to do is batch cook. And I don't do that in the sense that I think most people do, where you have like a handful of recipes and you cook like, 10 or 15 or 30 days worth of stuff and stick it in your freezer. I tried that way and it was too hard for me. It was too much. So I go a little bit different route and I batch cook like staple items. So I'll batch cook like a big batch of brown rice. And then I'll use that because that's a time consuming. If you're going to make dinner and any recipe that calls for rice, you're looking at least, 45 minutes to make. And that's a big chunk of time. So I'll cook it in one big batch and then I keep it in the fridge for up to a week. You can keep it in there. And then I'll just pull it out and use it in recipes, different things. So something that you could take to lunch that would be easy, that doesn't even necessarily need to be heated or anything. You could just keep it in the fridge if you have a fridge at work or a little cooler that you bring with. Is I do like a Southwest rice bowl. So it's really simple. It's just brown rice, canned black beans. I rinse those off. And then like some diced peppers, bell peppers, salsa, avocado if you have it, or like mashed avocado, and some cilantro and spices if you're, feeling fancy. But you don't have to add that stuff, and it's really flavorful, and really simple. And you could throw some shredded cheddar cheese on there also. It's easy to take with you. It's easy to eat at your desk if that's what you have to do. So that's one of the things. And then rice, I feel like you can use in so many different recipes. So there's a gazillion ways to use that. But I figured out, I actually sat down and did the math because I was working on this workshop that I offer and trying to explain to people how much time that actually saves. And I want to say it was like 2 hours a week or something if I were to cook rice every day versus just the once. So, I mean, it saves a lot of time. It saves a lot of effort. And when you're not feeling frazzled to get all that stuff done, that relieves stress right there too. So.
Yeah. And if you're like me, where I don't know like who cursed me, but when I can only make decent rice, like when the moon is full and the planets are aligned and Jupiter is right over there or whatever, like I have to be the person where like I usually have to be like, well, I messed this up. I'm just going to make some couscous. For me, couscous is like people who fail. That's for people who fail at rice. So like if I can just like try to just make it once a week, that is something that definitely is a time saver for sure. Especially if you don't have, like, I know that there's some people who have rice makers, but like I don't have that much counter space. There's just not enough counter space for a rice maker. So great tip.
Yeah, and you could do that with any kind of whole grain. So quinoa, couscous is a good one, any of those. And then you have it on hand and use it in the recipes that you would use it in anyways. And it makes it easier to try some new recipes too, because when you go to the farmer's market, like you said, and you find those cool little things and you already have the grain made, so you can just add that in. It makes it really easy.
For sure. And I love easy hacks. That's the easier, the better. So speaking of just like easy sort of food hacks, what would be for you, like, would be some really good veggies to have, like, because I love snacking, but I have been slowly but surely replacing like the Doritos and pretty much the sodium in a bag that I used to graze on with something that is actually like from the earth and there's only one ingredient and I can read it. So what would be for you like the best sort of like if you were like going to have a snack drawer cleanse, like after you throw away all that other stuff, what are some good snacks, whether they are veggies, fruits, what have you, to replace in that snack drawer?
Okay. Well, I tend to keep fruits and veggies refrigerated, so I don't know that these would be good. like snack drawer ideas, but if you had like a little mini fridge or a cooler, this would work really well. One of my favorite things is just mashed avocado, and I will put like some cumin and chili powder on top of it and dip sweet peppers in it. Nice. So that one is like one of my favorites. For snack drawer, excuse me, a couple of things that I really like that I keep on hand, and I take it with me, especially for the kids, like in the car and stuff. So you could have this for like an after work snack too. Like, you know how when you, this used to happen to me a lot. I'd be driving home from work and all of a sudden, like, I cannot wait until, you know, I get home and have dinner. Like, I am so hangry right now. And by the time I got home, it's like, you don't want to cook anything. And that, like you said, you're just like picking whatever you can find out of the cupboard. Yeah. So one of the things that I like for that a lot is Brazil nuts. Oh. So you can eat just really like 2 or 3 of those. I eat them like you would take vitamin pills, really. I'll usually eat like 2 or 3 a day. But they're really good for helping your body use the calories that you eat for energy. And so that is helpful too. And then another thing I really like is I make this trail mix with pumpkin seeds and pecans and dried cranberries and some dark chocolate chips. So it's kind of like a little sweet treat, but it feels indulgent, but it's still healthy, and it's really easy to put together, and it's really easy to take with you anywhere.
Nice. See, and I love anything that includes dark chocolate. So I love that idea. That's a great one. And I really like, you know, how you're talking about with Brazil nuts and everything like that and getting those good fats. One thing that I think is, and this is going to be really important for people who sit at a desk and maybe they're not able to get as much exercise in as they want, is where, you know, and this might be TMI, but girl, we all know that everybody needs more fiber in their life. And if you are sitting at a desk, then there's like, let's be real, most people in the US and in Europe, they aren't getting enough fiber. So what would you give some recommendations for folks who know that maybe they get some digestive issues, maybe they know they're not getting enough fiber and they've been a little too sedentary and they're trying to work on it, but you know, they know what they need. What are your top recommendations for incorporating more fiber into your average office worker's life?
Well, fiber, I would say any kind of whole grains. And then if you can, I wrote a baking book also, a whole grain baking cookbook. And that's one of the things is having the whole grains and like making muffins or things that you can bring with you is really easy to do. Another thing, just for digestion and stuff, and for what you mentioned about sitting and being sedentary a lot, to help with digestion and also helps with energy a lot, is just drinking more water. I know we tend to lean towards coffee and caffeine and things like that, but those actually, and I love coffee and I drink coffee every day, but I try to keep it to like 2 cups, and then the rest of the day I drink water. But water has an amazing ability to help flush everything out. It helps break everything down that you're eating. It just refreshes you as you're sitting there. And a lot of times when we're feeling really hungry or we're feeling really sluggish, it's the starting signs of dehydration actually. And so if you can get more water into you every day, that helps drastically with all that stuff, energy and digestion and everything.
Awesome. No, that is so true. For me, one of the best things about growing up in Arizona is that water is my best friend. That's why I don't understand people who are like, oh, I just can't drink water. I'm just not drinking enough. And I'm like, or they're like, I'm bored with water. And I'm like, how are you bored with the building block of life? But do you have any tips? Like, you probably, being a nutrition coach, you've probably met people who have that same issue. I know most of my friends on the East Coast, they're like, I don't know what I'm doing with all this water. And I'm like,
just
drink it. You gotta drink it. But do you have any like maybe some quick tips for someone who might not be as interested in water? I usually tell them to just like get some sparkling water and throw some raspberries in it. But that's like my only hack. Do you have any suggestions for making sure people are getting more water?
Yeah. I actually used to have the same problem. I hated drinking water. I drank soda like all day, every day. And way back when I worked in a restaurant, and it would get so busy and you'd have to get your sodas from the bartender. And when you couldn't, because you had too much work to do and you couldn't be standing there waiting, that was when I discovered, you know, oh man, water is like so much better. Because first of all, I can just get it myself whenever I want. And I noticed a difference even then. And that was before I even really cared about, you know, eating well and taking care of myself and all that kind of stuff. But I remember knowing the difference between if I was drinking Coke all night or if I was drinking water all night and working, you know, running, you know, doing that job. So I know how that is. But what I usually tell people is I like to make it a treat kind of. So I'll make spa water. And you can do it all kinds of different ways. So you can put cucumber slices. My daughter and I did cucumber slices and watermelon together, and that was really good, like so refreshing. And it just adds a little bit of flavor. And so you can switch it up and it feels more fun. It's not, you know, plain old boring water. like you're depriving yourself or punishing yourself. Like, it shouldn't feel like that. So anything that you can add, any kind of citrus fruits, orange slices are really good in water, any kind of fresh herbs. Like we'll do strawberries and fresh basil.
Ooh.
Is really good. So good. So yeah, you just have to, I think you have to change your mindset about it a little bit. First of all, and be a little bit open to just knowing that you're treating yourself and you're nurturing yourself, and it's not a punishment, and it's not, you know, you're not missing out on anything, because really when you think about it, the junk that's in all that other stuff, and the way that your body actually reacts to it, like we think that we're helping ourselves by pumping caffeine and sugar in there, but we're really not. So I think that's the first step. And then just having really delicious, like a variety of ways to have it so that it doesn't get boring and it feels like more fun than faux.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I completely agree. And I really want to try that basil and strawberry idea. That sounds really
It's so good.
Oh my God. Do you muddle the strawberry a little bit, or do you just chop it up into slices?
I just chop it up into slices, but you could do that and it would be really good.
Okay, now that's awesome. And that's definitely something where somebody could just take a mason jar the night before, throw some strawberries, you know, have that, and then have that really yummy idea that you have the recipe with the avocados. You have that in your fridge the night before, you grab it, and then you're just like the hydration, healthy fats queen for the next day at your desk. So, great tips. Now, Leah, we're getting towards the end of the interview, but I really think that with the wealth of knowledge that you have with the cookbooks, the Eat to Beat Stress book, and then of course your nutrition coaching, that is definitely something that we could all use some more of. So I'd love to hear where listeners can, you know, get more from you, to find your cookbooks, check out your website. Let us know where we can get more Leah.
Okay. Well, my books are both available on my website, which is leahborski.com. And I also have a 7-day online workshop coming up. It's called 7 Days to Less Stress and More Energy. and that is starting on September 17th. And I talk a lot more about specific foods that help with energy and stress relief. And then some relaxation tips and other self-care practices that are really easy to weave into your day, so that it doesn't feel like an extra thing to do, but just a natural thing that helps nurture and support yourself, to feel more relaxed and happy and energetic overall.
Awesome. Love it.
Also.
Okay, cool. Now, what is your URL so people can find you on the web?
It's www.leahborski.com.
Okay, awesome. Well, I know that I'm definitely going to, I'm already like up in different groups where I do enjoy seeing all your different recipes and your tips, but I know that I'm definitely going to try, especially the spa water out soon. So thank you so much, and I very much appreciate you having you on the Career Kickstart. So thanks again, and to the listeners, I'm Sami. This is the Career Kickstart.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Find something cool at cool.careerkickstartacademy.com.